All right, so in my last video, I talked about how to go from $100,000 a month to $200,000 per month in sales in a pretty short period of time, less than 4 years. In this video, I'm gonna be talking about how you can go from about $10,000 per month or less all the way to $80,000 per month. This was actually something that was requested by the agency Go Fam. So I'll be breaking that down for you here and now. So essentially what I focus on with my strategies around growing a business is the first, let's say $10,000 in monthly recurring revenue is really, really difficult. It's something that, unlike in my previous video where you can, get to $200,000 per month and then things become easier, it is very difficult to get a business to $10,000 to $15,000 per month. There's a lot of people who are gurus online who will tell you it's so easy to get to that point. And I guess I'm even accused of this because all my content talks about how you can get to $10,000 per month. I think the thing that I want to emphasize for you is that's if you have a strategy. If you don't have a strategy going into it and you're flying blind like I was, then it is really difficult. It's really hard to build a business to 6 figures in revenue. It requires a lot of skill, a lot of training. But once you do it, then things start to become easier. That being said, I will say that the most work I've ever done was when we went from $10,000 per month to $80,000 per month, because it was during that time period, our pace of learning was extremely fast. We were always trying to find information from people who had already built a 7-figure business and try to apply it to our business. So what I'm gonna do is kind of start right at the beginning and give you a visual of what life was like when I was doing $10,000 per month in sales or less. So when we first started the business, I was with my business partner, Christian Belichkov. We met each other at a networking event and we decided, hey, we both have needs for marketing services for our clients. Let's team up on this. We got our first office at WeWork. Actually, technically our first office was out of my college dorm room at LMU. But after that point, after the first few months, I was just calling companies all the time. Cold calling, cold emailing, whatever needed to be done to get people to talk to me about marketing. And it was hard because we didn't know what actually was gonna be our thing, right? We didn't understand what our niche was. We didn't understand what made us different. We just had marketing experience from doing some Amazon marketing in the past just for ourselves, but for the most part, didn't have, 10 years plus of marketing experience. It wasn't something like that. It was me just going out and trying to find people who were just willing to get work done for extremely cheap. So we realized for the first sort of 10 grand, our thing was that we were willing to do things for really cheap because we needed a business and we had no capital, we had no resources. So we were willing to do things for super cheap. So I remember the very first deal I closed was, I think it was $400, something like that. I quoted somebody 10 grand and they ended up moving down to $400 because I was a weak negotiator at the time. I didn't understand how to actually negotiate with people. It was just bad all around, but I was able to figure it out, got better at sales. Point being is that person moved forward with us because they were like, wow, these people are desperate for work. They're willing to do so much for so little. Now, I don't really recommend that strategy. That's why I try to help people avoid with these videos. I don't think you should grovel for money. I don't think you should do that. You shouldn't work for nothing necessarily if you don't have to. So that was really what that first initial growth period was. It took us from, to get to that 10K per month run rate, it basically took us about 8 months. It took us to get to that point. And then we plateaued throughout the Christmas season. December, January, February is always kind of hit or miss months. January, February are usually always bad for marketing agencies, at least in our experience. And then March 2019 is where things really started to pick up. But I still remember to this day, in February 2019, we had a dry spell. We literally were not getting any sales for 2 weeks. That was the longest I still have ever gone without getting any sales, because since that point, I have not closed a deal in a week since then. That was one thing that it was such a painful experience to me. But I remember we got a client who was a solar company to hit us back about a 6-month, $2,000 per month contract, the biggest contract I had closed out to that date. And it might sound like nothing nowadays, but it was the biggest contract we had closed at that time. And I was so excited. I remember I had told my friends, Christian, our employees, and also some friends of ours that were at our office, I was like, you guys go to lunch. I'm gonna keep working the phones because I was so desperate to get a sale. And I remember I got the email back and I literally did the whole Tiger Woods fist pump thing. I was like, oh my God, this is so amazing. I was on the ground, just pumping my fists. And it was so exciting because I'd gone like 2 or 3 weeks without getting any sales. It was nuts. And so because of that, it sort of propelled us forward. And then literally from that point, it was the most exciting time in our business. March 2019 to about August 2019, we grew from about $10,000, $15,000 per month in sales all the way to our biggest month, which was August 2019, which was about $80,000 in sales. And so let me give you the play-by-play of what happened during that time. So essentially, we went through a pretty big growth. We hired too many people. That's always a mistake everybody always makes. They overshoot how many people they have to hire. And what we really should have done was, felt some of the pressure a bit, been extremely profitable, put that money into our coffers, and then just hire talent, methodically. Just said, hey, we don't need 6 people right now. Let's just hire, 1 at a time. Keep it easy, keep it simple. And then we'll be able to scale more efficiently that way, right? But we didn't do that. And that's kind of what caused us some struggle at the beginning. The other thing we had to go through during that time was obviously operational scalability, because we were definitely not operationally efficient. There were deadlines that were missed. There were projects that were not done on time. And this is also something that I think, in hindsight, we never really did anything that I would consider to be bad for clients, but I don't think it was as good as it could be. And I think I do regret that a little bit, because I think if we were more operationally efficient, we would have been able to deliver even better for clients, even more for clients, which would have led to more referrals and things like that. But speaking on referrals, that is really what helped propel us. And I talk about this a lot, and it's something that I just am so frustrated that agencies don't spend more time on, honestly. It's like literally something that can make you millions of dollars, and very few people actually do it. I did it, and it helped me grow a business. But what you have to do is you have to reach out to people every single day. You have to network constantly. And you basically have to say, look, how can I help you? How can I, not even just prospects, but like other business partners, how can I give you business? And then not asking anything in return. So just basically being a hyper networker. And if you could do that, and you're giving people referrals, then you're gonna get more in return. One of the key things that also happened during that time period was niching down on a product. And you hear this happening all the time. People always talk about niching down, niching down, niching down. People started to notice us and know us for SEO. They were just like, oh, they're the SEO guys. But I didn't know anything about SEO. And so for me, I was like, look, right now it seems like it's an easy thing to sell, because we could always show what's called Ahrefs, which is a tool. You could like show people's websites, performance and stuff. We would basically show them that tool. And we would say, look, this is how your website is performing compared to these other businesses. Look at how bad this is. You could be so much better if you do these things right. That really got under people's skin, and they wanted to move forward with us, because they're like, okay, this SEO thing is the answer. We were able to give people the answer. And so I was thinking at the time, this was like in, February, March, when we were about to blow up. I was thinking, okay, how can we get, more sales? And really what I realized is the biggest demand we had was for doing this SEO service and for hyping up Christian as like this SEO wizard, this god of SEO. And that helped us, because again, people just knew us for SEO. They'd send business to us. I was constantly getting sales, and it would just all kind of move together, and that rhythm. So we did niche down. Now, the one thing that I will say about this, a lot of people get this wrong, I think, is they say you should niche down on just one demographic. And I've proven that to be untrue with my own business, and also with the people I've interviewed. I've interviewed, like for instance, if you look at my interview with Abstract Management, which is a guy's named Scott Scully. I literally asked him, he's a $54 million per year agency. I asked him, do you have like a niche in your demographic? And he said, no, I don't. But what he does have is he has a service niche. And that could take you extremely far depending on how big the market demand is for that service. So basically SEO, because we niched down for that first $1 million, that really helped us, because it was a niche service offering, right? It was something that was niche. And because it was niche, people actually loved us for it. We were able to reach product efficiency, product excellence. We were able to get our margins to be extremely good. And because the margins were extremely good, then we were able to over deliver for clients. We were able to do all sorts of stuff that we normally would not be able to do without really good operational product structure. And that's essentially it. So hopefully this video has been helpful for you guys. Hopefully it's given you some clarity on what to do to get to that $80,000 per month mark. If you have any questions on how to scale your agency faster, go to agencygo.io/leads, like, subscribe, share this channel, and I'll keep delivering you more and more content just like this to grow your digital marketing agency. So thank you. I'm out.